The Egyptian understandings, I learned a lot. I found out that, and this is all history, it's science, it's fact. If you study very carefully, you realize that all the ideas that Jesus were holding were part of Egyptian philosophy, right down to baptism and everything else. It was all part of it. And the Egyptians knew that Jesus was coming as early as 500 BC. They were planning on it. They sent missionaries around the world. The Coptics were the first ones, which were the first Christians, first ones to come out of that whole thing. They were Egyptian. The Essenes came out of Egypt also. And they were they were all Egyptian, coming out of there, and they went to Masada in Israel. There you see the flower of life on the surface of the floor of their first church they ever built. And the Essenes were deeply involved in Jesus coming also 500 BC. And then also the ISIS group that left and went into England in 500 BC. This was a plan where they set these whole things up. Eventually, Jesus was brought to England. That's recorded in scientifically one time. There's two times they say, but they can't prove the second time. And what came out of all of that when Jesus went into England was essential because of his connection with the Druids. The Druids were the ones that actually started the Christian church. Without the Druids, there would be no church. But that history has been not talked about very much. The biggest church, the first church ever built, was built on the land that the Druids gave to Joseph of Arimathea, who was Jesus' uncle, who was a multimillionaire and had ships and 10 mines and everything. And Jesus was brought to England and introduced to Merlin, Merlin is a title like the Dalai Lama. There's been many Merlins. And introduced the Merlin at that time. And then they gave them land at the base of the Torah, which was where the first Christian church was ever built. And that's the Abbey at Glastonbury. And it was the biggest church ever built in the history to this day, too. And then it was the monks from the Glastonbury Abbey that went to Rome and built the first church there. And so the true history of what's behind the Christian church has a lot to do with the Druid religion and a vast amount to do with Egypt.